Hey, what's up everyone? Laura here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'm going to be doing an updated review of Rosetta Stone Spanish. So many of you out there are new to language learning and may have never used an app before, but most of you have probably heard of Rosetta Stone. They're arguably the gold standard in language learning and have been around forever, so people generally think of them first when they decide to learn a new language. Yet most people don't have any clue how Rosetta Stone works or whether it's any good. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm essentially going to break down how the Rosetta Stone app works, what I particularly like and don't like about the program, and whether I think it's effective as a tool to learn Spanish. And just as a heads up, because I'll be covering the major highlights in this video and trying to keep things brief, if you find you need more detail at any point, you can always check out our full, detailed written review of Rosetta Stone on our website. An easy way to get there is just to Google Test Prep Insight Rosetta Stone Spanish Review. All right, so to dive right in, I want to actually start with how the Rosetta Stone Spanish program works. And organizationally, it's pretty simple course structure. There are just 20 learning units in the program, and each unit is made up of 4 core lessons, so about 80 lessons in the program total. And I know your initial reaction is, that's not that bad at all, but just be aware the lessons are lengthy and progressively build on each other in each learning unit. So it's no walk in the park. And complementing the core lessons are smaller focus lessons that reinforce specific concepts and vocabulary for that unit. Every lesson is built around a core 30-minute learning exercise, which introduces vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation through engaging techniques. Next, there is a number of supplemental drills laid out to reinforce that core lesson. Sometimes it's 3 supplemental drills, sometimes it's close to 10, it totally just depends. But no matter what, you'll rarely get a full lesson done in under 45 minutes. Most of the time, you're looking at a full hour end-to-end at the very least. So these aren't exactly bite-sized little lessons you can knock out on your lunch break, like with Duolingo. So while the core 30-minute lesson is central, the full learning experience can be longer if you include the supplementary practice. But as for what the actual Spanish lessons are like, the thing you need to know about Rosetta Stone above all else is that their program is very image heavy, and almost every single exercise that you'll do in a lesson involves pictures in some way or another. Sometimes the program will say something in Spanish and you match what was said to the right picture. Sometimes it's matching written Spanish phrases to the images, and sometimes it's on you to recite in Spanish what is in the image and get graded by the speech software. Basically, no matter what the format, Rosetta Stone primarily uses a combination of immersion and pictures to teach Spanish. The program is clearly built to have you create mental associations between what you're learning and imagery. This sort of cuts English out as your go-between and forces you to rely on more intuition rather than memorization to learn Spanish. But honestly, that's sort of it for the Rosetta Stone program. Around the core of the Spanish course, Rosetta does have a lot of supplemental learning tools like phrasebooks, short on-demand video lessons, stories, audio companion lessons, and even some live lessons. But for your day in, day out lessons, that's how it works. And by the way, again, I know I'm kind of flying through this, so if you want to check out some examples of the Rosetta Stone drills and lessons, please be sure to check out that full review I mentioned earlier. I'll have it linked down below in the description. I've got screenshots and more detail over there, so you can get a feel for what to expect overall. Okay, now before I dive straight into the individual pros and cons of Rosetta Stone Spanish, let's quickly talk about cost and how they compare to other apps. So Rosetta Stone has 3 plans to choose from. There's a 3-month subscription plan that's about $20 per month. Then there's a 12-month plan that goes for about $20 per month. And then there's the lifetime plan, which is a one-time purchase and gets you access for life to all of Rosetta Stone's languages for about $200. It's more expensive than other Spanish apps like Duolingo and Busuu, but also cheaper than other programs like Pimsleur and Rocket Spanish. Plus, one important thing to note here, which I just touched on, is that Rosetta Stone is pretty aggressive with their deals and special promos, and you can almost always find a discount on their Spanish program. So be sure to check out for deals and coupons. In fact, I'll do my best to keep the description down below updated with the most current coupons and deals that I can find floating around. Give that text below the video screen a look before buying. You just might be able to save yourself some money with Rosetta. Okay, so now that we've talked about pricing and how Rosetta Spanish works, let's get into what I like and don't like about it. And let's start with the pros. So the first advantage of using Rosetta Stone, as I see it, is if you're a visual learner, because there are so many pictures and imagery in the program. Hey, some people are just pure visual learners and associate the new things they learn with pictures and graphics. So when they hear that word again, the image comes straight to mind. In this way, it sort of cuts English out as the go-between. You directly associate the word you're learning with the raw substantive meaning, and not another English word. And because just about every single drill in this program leverages imagery in one way or another, it'll be effective for those types of visual learners. It's a solid framework. Then another aspect of the Rosetta Stone Spanish program that I don't think everyone will like, but I do believe is effective, is its use of immersion. Rosetta calls it their dynamic immersion method, which enables you to tap into your innate ability to learn language. By mirroring the way one first acquires language as a child, it provides a maximum exposure to Spanish through audio spoken by native speakers, written words, and authentic pictures. Language training is the cornerstone of your experience as you learn any language. And with Rosetta, you will learn exclusively in Spanish, without translation, and with the ultimate goal of gaining confidence to communicate. Essentially, once you're in the program, there's hardly any use of English. They don't directly give you English directions for each exercise, and not all words and sentences are translated for you. Basically, Rosetta Stone wants you to learn somewhat intuitively and wants you to be immersed in Spanish for the length of time that you're sitting there working on exercises and frankly struggling a little bit. It's part of the process. In all honesty, this could possibly be a little frustrating and discouraging because you'll get hung up and stuck at times, but if you don't mind struggling in certain parts, it can be a highly effective technique. It's also important to add that Rosetta Stone Spanish is offered in two versions, one that teaches Latin American Spanish and one that teaches European Spanish. The language used in the two products differs in spelling, pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. And the last advantage of using Rosetta Stone for me is all the cool extra resources that they provide. And when it comes to extra resources, they just load it on. Rosetta Stone offers more supplemental tools than just about every other language learning app on the market. Again, there are phrase books, short on-demand video lessons, stories, audio companion lessons, and even live classes. They just have a really comprehensive bundle of tools for you to use outside of the core lesson work. So if you're really serious about learning Spanish and plan on dedicating some significant time to this, Rosetta Stone is one of the best for getting fully immersed with a bunch of different learning tools. Okay, now that we've covered what I like about Rosetta Stone, let's switch gears and talk about the downsides. But before I get to that, I should mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we give away a free language learning subscription to one lucky person. It's super simple to enter. Everyone is eligible. I'll put all the details down below in the description. It'll take you less than 10 seconds, and hey, you never know, you could win a free Rosetta Stone lifetime subscription. All right, so the first drawback of the Rosetta Stone Spanish program is the lack of grammar instruction. In short, Rosetta Stone is just very light on the grammar. This sort of relates back to the point I made earlier about learning intuitively. Rosetta Stone doesn't present you with a lesson on how verbs are conjugated or how to use past tense. Instead, they teach you more organically through those picture-based drills I talked about earlier. And while there is some merit to doing things this way, especially for vocab, I personally prefer more direct instruction when it comes to grammar. I'd rather just have things explained to me in plain English up front about sentence structures and mechanics, and then practice with drills rather than trying to discover it all myself. I just think this method can lead to frustration. Then my second negative actually has to do with Rosetta Stone's True Accent speech recognition tech. I know it gets a bunch of hype, but personally, I don't really like it. My biggest beef with this software is that it is so oversensitive. I know its aim is to perfect your pronunciation, But there were times when I knew I would be saying a word or phrase correctly, and it would keep making me repeat it, sometimes 3 or 4 times in a row, and it got super annoying and made me just want to skip the drill entirely. And I get that having great pronunciation is a major advantage and gives you confidence, and honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important. Everyone who learns a new language has an accent, and the more important thing up front is actually learning to listen and speak, then fine-tuning your pronunciation down the road as you hear more of the language. That's just my 2 cents. And last negative real quick, but I actually think Rosetta Stone could benefit from creating more of a community feel among its users. One of the reasons Duolingo has been so successful is that they've done a great job of building a competitive and collaborative environment among users. I will add that they do offer live lessons every week, about 25 minutes long, led by a licensed Rosetta Stone tutor who'll cover a unique topic every section. This provides a fun way to review and build on your knowledge, and also interact through the live chat feature. However, you do have to pay extra, and I just wish it was included as part of the base subscription. But anyways, that's about it for the details, so now it's time for my final verdict. Is Rosetta Stone a good app for learning Spanish? I would say mostly yes, and I'm hedging a little bit because the answer to this question, of course, depends on what type of learner you are. If you're looking for some more traditional audio lessons to learn Spanish, Rosetta Stone is not going to be it. If that's what you're after because you're an auditory learner, I would actually point you towards Rocket Spanish and Pimsleur. But if you're a visual learner and want some more hands-on drills and exercises, I really do like Rosetta Stone. Between their in-depth lessons, immersive framework, and tons of visuals, there's a lot to like. And after over 30 years, they clearly know what they're doing. And for more active visual learners, I think Rosetta Stone will really be effective for you. Anyway, folks, that about does it for today. Please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and check out the website and the rest of our YouTube channel for more reviews and comparisons. Adios!